was an interesting morning. Good morning, ANF. My name is Hayoung, and I'm a member of Kazakhstan House Church, shepherded by Peter and Hwani.
And my name is David Lee, and I'm a member of Burundi House Church, shepherded by Johnny and Christina. We had the great privilege of taking this premarital class together under Pastor Dale and Samni Samanim. To be honest, we were both pretty anxious about taking the class because we were the only couple. Before it started, we went around asking other couples like what they thought about the class. Every single person told us it was their favorite class that they had taken at ANF and that they had an amazing experience. Even with all the positive feedback, I still was a little bit nervous going into it. But as the weeks went by, I gradually felt more comfortable and became so thankful for PD and Samanim for opening up their home to us, providing wonderful meals, and generously sharing their wisdom, experience, and guidance. As many of you know, I work as an airline pilot. During flights, we often take long periods of downtime while I cruise, so I spend a lot of that time talking to the other pilot about random topics. One question I often ask is if they're dating or if they're married. Many of the pilots that I fly with, they're already married and they just recently started their families. But one of the biggest fears have always been present in my life is worry about like my future family because my job requires me to be away from home. I worry that if it'll make me feel like I'm a failure as a husband or a father. So I often ask them how they make it work. Almost all of them tell me the same thing. You'll never be there for everything, but you have to do your best, stay intentional, and most importantly, learn to be flexible. And that's something I've come to appreciate so much about Taeyong, as she understands the demands of my career because her own job also requires flexibility, and I'm grateful that we can support each other in that.
I also knew that this class would be challenging, but we learned quickly that God had already given us wisdom and guidance through Scripture. Marriage is not something we had to figure out on our own. From the very beginning, God cared deeply about us and did not want us to be alone. His design was not only for us to be fruitful and multiply, but also for a husband and wife to be companions, helpers, and partners who walk through life together. Understanding God's purpose for marriage changed the way I viewed preparing for it. Rather than simply planning for a wedding, the class helped me be more mindful as we prepared for the life we hope to build together. One part of the class that really brought this to life was taking time to reflect on our goals, values, and expectations for marriage. We spent time creating a shared vision for where we hope to be as a family over the next 5 to 7 years. Rather than simply hoping we would end up in the same place, we discussed the kind of marriage we wanted to build, the values we wanted our future family to have, and how we could support one another in reaching those goals. Each week, we set practical goals based on what we had learned in class and worked to put those lessons into practice. These conversations and exercises strengthen our relationship by helping us communicate more openly, navigate conflict, and become more thoughtful about loving and serving one another in our everyday lives.
One of the most impactful lessons for me was the week that we talked about family. Family has always been a difficult area in our relationship. I won't go into all details, but early on it created a rift between my parents and me. But by God's grace, our relationship has improved over time, and I still feel like there's still a little bit scars in my heart from that. It was even a heavier burden for Seong, yet I've been deeply encouraged by our desire to love my parents even more. I'm also incredibly thankful for PD and Samanim for their encouragement and wisdom during that lesson, as it meant so much to both of us, as it was very meaningful, yet they also kept it a little bit lighthearted. A couple of months ago, Chris Ham shared an analogy during his testimony about coffee and milk coming together to create something even better. As someone who loves coffee, that illustration really stuck with me, so I'm going to borrow it this morning. Song and I are very different people. She's an extrovert, I'm an introvert. She's a morning person while I'm a night person. She's naturally more expressive while I tend to be more reserved. One of the lessons that we covered helped us understand these differences and that they can become a source of conflict. But through these differences, we're able to recognize our faults that we have and to use them to grow not only closer together, but also closer to God. So like coffee and milk, we're very different on our own, but together God is blending us into something new and even better.
I also agree that we're very different, and early on in our relationship, we had to work on identifying these differences as well as appreciating them, because that is what we brought to our relationship. One lesson that especially stayed with me while we were learning were the three types of love: eros, philia, and agape. I realized that loving David well means caring for every part of who he is. Eros reminds me to care for his physical well-being by encouraging healthy lifestyle habits, and philia reminds me to intentionally build our friendship by communicating well, listening carefully, spending quality time together, and continuing to date one another throughout our marriage. Agape love reminds me to love him sacrificially by praying for him, extending grace, and encouraging his relationship with Christ. Seeing love in these three parts gave me much better understanding of what it means to truly love my future husband. Looking back, this class had brought David and I together closer. We understand each other better, communicate more intentionally, and have both grown individually and as a couple. I feel more confident and equipped to begin this next chapter of life, and we're incredibly thankful that we get to walk it with so much support, prayers, and community from A&F and our house churches. When I first started this class, marriage felt like an overwhelming responsibility, a lifelong covenant that would completely change my life. Instead, now I feel emotionally and spiritually more mature, eager for what lies ahead, and deeply grateful that God has given us the gift of marriage. I truly feel blessed that God has brought David into my life, and we look forward to building a marriage that honors God together.
We'd like to thank PD and the Salmoning for everything again. The last few weeks have been an amazing opportunity for us to get closer and to receive their wisdom. Although it was short, we learned so much, and it helped me better prepare our future together, especially with Soyoung. And thank you for all the prayers from everyone in our house churches as well. Thank you again.